Send in the red shirts.
So I just downloaded the Star Trek Discovery Desperate Hours audiobook. I downloaded it this morning. I had a flight. I was coming in from a trip and I listened to, I think I'm on chapter 4. First off, I got to say that title is not very captivating. I keep finding myself forgetting what the hell the name of this book is. I keep thinking, when I try to find it on my iPhone in the audiobook section, I'm like, is it Desperate Measures? Desperate Times? Desperate something. Not a title that really grabs you. This is a book by David Mack. I'm not familiar with his work. This may be a case where I wish I had downloaded the actual book or bought the book. Like I said, I downloaded the audiobook, and I hate to say it, but the narration is terrible. It's a female narrator, and she reads it like she's reading a bedtime story or like a fairy tale. Thank you for responding to our distress signal, Captain. How soon can you be here? In 3 hours. 3 hours? Wow. We'll probably be dead by then. Another thing I had a problem with, and maybe I misunderstood it, was at the beginning of the book, they make the point they point out that the events of the book take place before what we saw on the premiere episode, but the events of the book take place after Captain Pike takes the Enterprise to Talos 4. That was the episode of the original series called The Cage. So that, I don't know why they did that or how that works, because that's clearly not in continuity. I mean, I've forgiven some of the continuity gaffes due to, they can't make a ship or a starship. They can't build a set that looks like the 60s version. So we have a starship that clearly is more technologically advanced than what Kirk had on the original series. I forgive them for that, but when they tie it in like this, it doesn't make sense. So I know Pike, they had a certain type of uniform in that first episode of the original series, The Cage, which doesn't match with what we see the crew of the Shinjo wearing, or what the crew of the Discovery will be wearing. They're wearing those blue, I'm going to call them drum major outfits. The other thing is, we know what the Shinjo and the Discovery look like. I don't know what class of ship what this is going to be assigned, what class they call this ship. But how can this possibly take place after the events of Talos 4? Because the Enterprise is established at that point as what we know as a Constitution class starship. So how do you have that in the same time frame as the Shinjo and the Discovery, which look like rudimentary versions of a Constitution class starship? But now they're coexisting. So am I missing something? That seems like a huge gaffe or a huge mistake. I hope there's an explanation for it. And if you know what it is, please tell me. Leave comments below or hit me up on redshirtspodcast@gmail.com. I also put up a pinned post on Facebook, on Red Shirts, the Star Trek podcast on Facebook, where we can discuss what we want to talk about this book, whether you liked it, whether you didn't like it, whatever you want to discuss. So I put that on Facebook. Check that out. And as I'm going along, like I said, I'm on chapter 4 right now, I believe. As I'm going on, it's a 10-hour listen. So as I continue to progress, I'll probably post up more videos. I'll probably have a lot more questions because, like I say, I am a Star Trek fan, but I know there's some of you out there that have your PhDs in Star Trekology or whatever you want to call it. I don't know all the minutia. I'm more of a TNG guy. I mean, I grew up on TOS, but I really glommed on to Star Trek with TNG. Hey, I'm going to have questions for you. I'm not ashamed to admit that. If you have answers for me, I got no problem with that. I have no problem showing my ignorance. If you have the answers, I'm all open ears. So yeah, so that's it pretty much. This is just a short video. So the ultimate question I have is, how can this book possibly take place after Captain Pike visited Talos? Because it seems like to me, it's been established what the ships look like, what the uniforms look like at that point. And to then jump to this with the blue uniforms and the rudimentary style of the starships, Shinjo and Discovery, it doesn't seem to make a lot of sense. So if you have an answer, please leave them in the comments below. hit me up on redshirtspodcast@gmail.com. Hit me up on Facebook. You can find us on the Red Shirts, a Star Trek podcast, or Twitter @redshirts1701. I'll be talking to you soon. Thanks.